Hello and welcome back to Seconds Out. My name is Eamon Khan, joined by the Big Bang Zhilei Zhang and Kurt as well to translate. Big Bang Zhilei Zhang seeking a big fight in the heavyweight division. You're back in training now, Zhilei. How's life?
Back to normal training camp. Everything is going very well. Life is going well. It's treating me well. Thank you for asking.
I saw that you had a trip back to China. A huge guy like yourself, you look like you were struggling to carry all the flowers that they gave you on the homecoming. It was nice to see. How was the trip back to China?
去中国了是吧？最近回中国了。Yeah, I was excited. It was tremendous and heartwarming at the same time. I went back to China. It happened to be the Chinese traditional holiday, so I get to spend some time with my family and friends. And also, I was received by a lot of fans, so I feel really great, excited.
然后好好放松一下，也受到了家乡父老的热情，还有全迷的热情，然后非常激动。
Excited.
I watched as well a short documentary produced by, I think it's called Sixth Tone, when you went back to China as well previously. I saw that you did some training in the local province of Henan with the younger fighters. You holding the pads and kind of giving them some tips and things. Is that something you're looking to do in the near future? Kind of give back to the younger fighters and help bring a few through as well?
Yeah, I went back to Henan. That's where I trained when I was amateur. So I went back to the old gym, saw the young fighters, hold pads for them. I believe that I want to serve as a motivation and inspiration for the next generation of fighters. Maybe that's something I'm looking to do in the future down the line. I believe that I want to help the younger generations coming up.
然后也希望他们在今后的比赛中，然后取得优异的成绩。
Coming up. Yeah.
Also noticed in that documentary as well a conversation with your brother and sister. Do they come to your fights?
没有，他们在国内看的比赛，因为他们
No, they didn't go to the fight because they're both working and they have job to do in China, but they watched it live in front of TV.
然后一直在看我的直播。
In front of TV. No.
Have they ever been to your fights? What was the last fight they went to?
哥哥姐姐去过，以前我打业余的时候去过，然后打职业之后，在国内打职业的时候去过比赛啊。
去过长沙那场吗？是。
对，去长沙，好像去长沙那一次，对。
Yeah, so brother and sister went to my fight mostly in amateur when I was amateur. But since I turned pro, they've been to my fight once when I fought Don Hainsworth. That was a fight in China. So my family was there.
应该会去。
I think so if they can make their schedule available when it comes to work. But I do want them to be there. But also, if the world title fight happens in China, then that's a must.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to ask you. The talk and conversation about having this world title fight in China. First of all, look, it'd be great to have that fight happen in China, but would you like to have it at the Bird's Nest, or is there something closer to Henan province that you could stage the fight there?
Well, actually, I can go anywhere in China. It can be Bird's Nest. It can also be a venue next to Henan, but I can go anywhere.
When you think about that fight, Zhilei, who is the dream opponent in the opposite corner? Who do you want to have that fight with?
Well, it can be anybody. I'm not really picky when it comes to an opponent, but I do want to fight Joshua in China. It could be Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk. Also Parker rematch. Anything is possible. Well,
when it comes to the fight talk, I wanted to ask you, in the last few years, we've seen you at the higher weights. When flip back to maybe a couple of years back, you're around the 250, 260, 270 mark. Do you feel better having a higher weight in the heavyweight division, or are you seeking to maybe kind of shed a bit of pounds when it comes to those bigger fights that you're looking for?
And moving down to 255, around 250 is impossible for me now. It's just, I can't do that. 280 is a perfect weight for me. I feel most comfortable at this weight. Everything is perfectly balanced. So I'm going to maintain this weight from this point forward.
Do you feel that your lead trainer, Shawn George, is getting the credit he deserves for helping guide you to where you're at right now?
I think Shawn is not only a great coach, a great teacher, but he also like a family to me. We've been having this crazy chemistry between each other. Actually, me and my whole team, Lane brothers, Kurt and Scott, we have the whole chemistry, and we look at each other like family. We take care of each other in and out of the ring. So yes, I believe Shawn has recognition. He deserves it.
然后我们像一家人一样，但是我们有一个共同的目标，就是世界冠军。
When it comes to those fights that you've been looking for, you listed there being Joe Parker, one of them, and I saw the call out. You called out Joe Parker for rematch. He responded on the Instagram post and said he's been waiting for you as well. You chomped into the Kiwi too, a little bit of a little small joke there with him. But why is Parker so high on your list?
Because I would stand up at wherever I fall.
Where do you feel the fight slipped away from you the first time round?
I would say the only thing I need to pay attention to and make correction from the first fight is my mentality. I respect Parker as a person. You know, I have to be honest with you, but in strategy, when it comes to strategy, I underestimated him and what he could do in the ring. So as you can see, when the third round came and I dropped him, I started to dance in the corner. So those things are really a reflection of my lack of focus. So this is what I will really pay attention to when it comes to the rematch, if that happens.
It's so surprising to hear you say mentality is some of the things that you kind of change or keep that level of focus. Because when I look at you as a fighter, I would never suggest that you're a fighter that maybe slips that bit of concentration. So why do you feel it happened on that night, and how do you address that going forward so it doesn't happen again?
I think being mentally focused is a lot of things. You know, I celebrated too early. As soon as I dropped him, I started to celebrate those things, and also have a perfect strategy going to that fight. Those things are important. And if you really put him on a high level of your mind, you will be able to focus in training, and that's what I would do.
Not only do you have your own targets, but people have you on their hit list. Most notably, first of all, Marin Bakole, after his recent win over Jared Anderson, has said you would love a fight with yourself, Zhilei. How open are you to a fight with Marin Bakole later on this year?
Well, I have an open mind for everybody. And if people want to fight me, I'm always open to the challenge. And speaking of Jared Anderson, because I was asked the question frequently, do I want to fight Jared Anderson? My answer is no. Why would I fight a prospect at this phase of my professional career? I'm up to bigger things. I'm up to the title fight. And I was humbly saying that Anderson need more practice. He need more tough fights. So Bakole is a perfect example. He got dropped in the first round and he got stopped in the fifth. But I believe with more fights down the line, Jared Anderson will come back. And he will be a big threat in the heavyweight division. Speaking of Bakole, he did really great. I respect him as a person, respect him as a fighter, and I will really be interested in fighting him. Everything is possible. You know, like I said, I'm open to everything. People want to fight me.
I don't want to stir the pot too much, but on Box Nation's interview with Marin Bakole, he said in a fight with yourself, he said he'd make you cry and retire. What's your response to that, Zhilei Zhang?
That's what every opponent of mine says before a fight. Everybody want to make me cry. Everybody want to retire me. But see what happens. I mean, we don't do the talk. We do the action. We're fighters. Everybody said they want to knock me out. 99 said it, 0 succeeded. And let's see what happens. I put them down instead.
So how would the fight with you and Bakole end?
Less than 5.
Another fighter that has you on their mind is Dereck Chisora. After defeating your former opponent, Joe Joyce, he wants a slice of you too. Are you interested in a fight with Dereck Chisora?
Yeah, I'm open to that fight as well. I think Joe Joyce, after 2 fights with me, he definitely took some punishment, and he's still on the route to recover. At this point of time, Chisora got him, and people say, "Oh, Chisora is old; he's a veteran." But I'm older than Chisora, and he's like a younger brother to me. So when our team approached him a couple of years ago and trying to make that fight happen, he turned it down, and now he came back and said he want to fight me. All right, then let's go. I'm not afraid of anyone, and I can fight anyone. I'm open to whoever to bring to the table. My team, talk to my team.
I listened to former world champion and pundit Chris Algieri, and he was speaking and he was saying that he felt that a fighter like Oleksandr Usyk, undisputed heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk, doesn't want to fight heavyweights like you because he said that your power and size puts Usyk off from fighting heavyweights like yourself. Do you agree? Do you feel that that's something that will stop you getting in the ring with Usyk?
I'm really positive about that fight. I want that fight to happen, but like you said, it's a big boys game, and whatever Usyk decides to do, that's up to him and his team. I believe if he wants to stay or if he wants to go down to cruiser, he has his reasons. But I'm really optimistic and I'm really positive about this fight.
You mentioned about the crazy chemistry that you have in your corner with Shawn George. I wanted to ask you, in the lead up to the rematch with Usyk and Fury, Tyson Fury said he's sticking with his corner now for that fight. Sugar Hill Stewart, Andy Lee, Big John Fury, which apparently there was some chaos in the corner leading in the first fight. Do you feel that's the right move for Fury to take on Usyk to keep his corner?
Well, I think it's really up to him and his team. But we always say that three brains will make things happen. I believe that if the whole team is dedicated to one goal and they can get along with each other, then that's a good thing. I really hope that works out.
因为每个人看待的问题不一样，所以说，如果说他们的教练团队能够合作愉快的话，然后大家形成一个共识，然后我想这对Tyson Fury会有很大的帮助。
There's a huge fight coming up in the form of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. I just wondered where you stand on that fight. Who do you think has their hand raised by the final bell?
这场比赛马上就要跟
The way I look at Dubois' recent performance, I think he's on the surge. He's definitely on the surge. After knocking out Hrgovic with devastating fashion, his confidence is up there, and his dedication is up there. So I believe with the full training camp, with the proper training camp, he's going to be a big threat to Joshua. So in this fight, Joshua has to really pay attention to a lot of details.
还是要小心一点，然后因为杜波啊年轻，有冲劲儿，有饥饿感。
Were you surprised when he stopped Hrgovic? Because I was there in attendance when you fought Hrgovic. I thought you nicked that fight. I thought you won it. But Dubois was able to, through obviously the two cuts that were suffered as well, though, but he was able to really kind of put Hrgovic on the back foot. Was that something that surprised you from Daniel?
I was a little bit surprised because I know what Hrgovic could do in the ring. I think he's a really good fighter. But when I was in the locker room preparing for my fight and I was watching it live, I saw Dubois was putting a beating to Hrgovic. I was really happy because I'm happy for Dubois. The kind of performance deserve recognition and respect.
Which of those two fighters, whoever wins, but whichever of those two fighters do you feel is the tougher fight for you, Dubois or AJ?
I would say Dubois because he's so young and he's so hungry and he's like a hungry animal and he wants everything.
I would have thought you had said AJ. I'm quite surprised.
Well, how can a businessman pose a threat to me?
Interesting. Do you feel that AJ's mindset has changed from being 1 foot out the ring as opposed to 2 foot in the ring?
Yes, professional boxing is all about your performance in the ring. If you're looking at commercialization or your business strategy, then that's going to take half of your foot, probably not one, but half of your foot out of the ring.
Do you see a change in style from him? Is that something that you've been impressed by, like you were with Daniel Dubois? AJ's now made the change to join up with Ben Davison. They do a lot of research and a lot of tape watching of their fighters to make up game plans and strategies for their opponents. They were on a comeback surge against Wallin, against Franklin and Garnu, Helenius. Has that comeback impressed you at all?
I'm desperate to find out. That's the question I cannot answer because it depends on the type of opponent that you're in the ring with. Ngannou, credit to him, but he's a rookie when it comes to professional boxing. 2 fights. Franklin, respect to him too, but they're not high-level opponent who can really test him and say, "Oh, I'm back." So I'm really desperate to find out his performance against Dubois, and we'll see what happens.
How much of the AJ is still there from the one that you fought in the Olympics?
你觉得 AJ 从奥运会跟你打到现在 I think it's always on the roller coaster. After Olympics, he definitely developed his skill set, and I believe that his prime was when he fought Klitschko, when he has his title defenses, and when he was knocking everybody out. But then the Reese fight happened. That's when he went downfall. But now through a couple of wins, he's slowly getting his confidence back. So it's on a roller coaster. The real challenge is Daniel Dubois, and we'll see what happens.
但是真正的考验是下一场比赛。
Just want to ask you as well on that. But for both AJ and Dubois, in the UK, we're quite critical of them both, and fighters, pundits have said that both AJ and Dubois have quit in the ring. AJ to Ruiz, and then Dubois to both Usyk and to Joe Joyce in the past. When you're a fighter, and when you look at those two fights as prospective fights for yourself, do you think, hey, I'm fighting an opponent who has a bit of quit in them, has something that I can chip away at, and they'll wave the flag themselves?
From a fighter's perspective, I can only tell you that that's a factor as X going to the ring, because we never know what's going to happen and what really happened before, training camp and stuff like that. I believe let the fist do the talking, and we will see who gives up and who doesn't.
Very last couple of things for myself. I believe that might be the Olympics in the background on your TV there. Has anyone impressed you in the Olympics? We've been keeping an eye on the Olympic boxing. I know that as well. When Liu Yang, unfortunately, she lost to Kelly Harrington, but it was a great fight. But anyone in the Olympics caught your eye?
非常有，然后我最关注的就是中国的拳击。
Yeah, I believe that the Olympic is everything. It's something on everybody's mind right now, and I keep updated with it every day, and I keep watching every day. Of course, I pay attention to boxing and pay attention to Chinese boxing. I would like to say that we have 6 female boxers in Olympic this year, full table, and 5 of them in the finals. So yesterday, we got a silver medal. So that's from yesterday, and right now still 5 in the finals. We have Chang Yuan, Yang Liu, and Wu Yu in the finals, and we have Li Qian in the semifinals. So Chinese boxing is doing really good, especially female boxing. I keep an eye on them every day, and they're really impressive.
Lastly, I'll leave the final word with yourself, Zhilei. What would you like to send? What message would you like to send to any of the prospective heavyweights that you might be finding yourself in the ring with? What would you like to tell them?
Yeah, I would say to anyone who wants to fight me and get a piece of me, just come see me and stop talking. And we should shut up and let fist do the talking.
闭嘴，用拳头说话。